Hey, this is Danny with Patrick Adair Designs, here to help you out with the April subscription box. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and open it up and see what we've got this month. All right, so first up, an extra mixing vial. This month's freebie is a ring sizer, so you can figure out what size ring you need, or your loved ones, whoever. Then we have our diamonds. So this month we're using our medium grade diamonds. So these just look really cool, nice and sparkly. And then we have our green glow powder, our twist Damascus ring blank. This one's really cool when you have it finished. It has a nice spiraled pattern to it. And then we have our 3 daytime colors. So this month we're gonna be working with violet, bright sapphire blue, and then an obsidian black. So we're going for kind of a nebulous space theme. So we're gonna go with a black background and then have blue and purple swirls, and the diamonds are gonna act as kind of a stars. So it's gonna look really cool. I'm pretty excited for this one. So as we're mixing each of these colors, I'm really trying to make a small batch just so that I can have leftover color pigment and glow powder for later on, and to show that you really don't need all that much for each ring. Even with as little as I made, I had a ton left over at the end of the day. So just keep that in mind as you're mixing your own colors. You really don't need very much for each ring. So the first color I'm gonna mix is the Obsidian Black. I'm just gonna mix that with a little bit of the green glow. And when I'm mixing it, I'm just making sure that there's no weird clumping and that it's a nice dark black. Same thing with the bright sapphire. I'm just making sure that as I add the green glow, that the mixture doesn't have any clumping and that the blue is a true bright sapphire blue. It's not being diluted too heavily by the glow powder. Thirdly, we're gonna mix our violet and the green glow powder. Same thing as with the black and the bright sapphire. You're just trying to make sure that it has a nice even consistency and that the purple is really vibrant still. I really like these 3 colors together. I think they make a really nice combo, and the black background just really helps the blue and the purple to pop. They look really nice on the black background. This Nebula Twist ring idea, we've been selling it now for a while through our Patrick Adair Designs website, but we haven't really made a video with it, and I think it's a really cool one and that you guys are gonna like it a lot as we go through the process. So the first step, once we've mixed our color pigments, is to put the ring blank on our mandrel. I always try and use the electrical tape on my mandrel, especially with these softer metals, just because it helps prevent scratches on the inside of your ring. Our first step is just to do a really thin layer of super thin. We're trying to cover the entire channel with our black color pigment, but we want to make sure that it's a really thin layer, because as you add the purple and blue and then the uncut diamonds, if the diamonds stick up above the lip of the blank, it'll cause scratches and it'll just causes the ring to not have a very nice smooth finish. So we want to make sure that each of our layers of color pigment are as thin as possible without showing the ring blank below. So you just got to be extra careful as you're doing these steps. After I have the black color pigment inlaid, I'm going to go ahead and wet the whole thing again just to double check that there's nowhere that you can see the ring blank. And then we're going to start off with our purple color. I always start with the purple because if you put the blue down first, the purple will overpower it. It's something that I've noticed in experimenting with these 3 colors. So I always go black on the bottom, and then I'll do the purple, and then I'll add the blue on top. The blue, for whatever reason, just becomes really muted if you have the purple over top of it. So I always go in that order when I make rings with these 3 colors. As I'm adding the uncut diamonds, we're just really making sure to have them nice and spread out and evenly distributed throughout the entire ring. We want this to really look like a nebula out in space. So we want the diamonds to kind of represent the stars. And if they're too tightly compact or too many in one area, it's just gonna kind of ruin that effect. So you just wanna make sure that you're not adding too many of the uncut diamonds. Next up, I'm just gonna take my metal tweezers and I'm just going to be smashing the diamonds down. Any of them that look like they're gonna be up above the lip of our inlay channel. It seems a little strange, but it really is gonna save you a hassle later on. So I'm just making sure to kind of go through and smash any that look like they're gonna be sticking out too far. After we're done smashing those diamonds, we're gonna go ahead and just use a razor blade just to double check that none of them stick up above the edge of the blank. This step is a little tricky just because it is a Damascus steel blank, so there are ridges, but you can usually tell the difference between the diamonds and the ring blank as you do it with the razor blade. But that's why I smash it down first, just so that I can be extra sure that all of the diamonds are below the lip of the blank. After we've thoroughly checked those diamonds to make sure that they're below the lip of our blank, we're gonna go ahead and use our super thin CA adhesive to bring the entire inlay channel up above the lip of the blank. So I'll just do a couple drops at a time and then I'll spray it with a little bit of accelerator, and then we'll just keep repeating that process over and over again until we have the entire inlay channel up above the lip of the blank. With this process, you want to be really careful that you're patient and you don't use too much accelerator. If you use too much accelerator, you will have air bubbles, and even sometimes you'll discolor the super thin CA adhesive. So as long as you're patient and just take your time with this step, you'll have a really nice clear finish on your ring. So normally when I make a ring like this, the layers of super thin don't end up looking this nice. Honestly, I almost left this ring exactly like this. I almost didn't even Dremel or sand it at all, because this domed finish that happened after we did the layers of super thin looked really cool. It was really evenly done. It had a nice clear finish so you could see all the way down. So despite how cool it looked with the domed finish, we are going to go ahead and use our Dremel to just sand everything back down flush with the ring blank. Once you have everything flush with the Dremel, you can go ahead and start your hand sanding process. With this ring, I did 220 through 1200 grit sandpaper. That's all I felt that I needed to have a nice clean finish on this ring. So yeah, as I'm sanding, I'm just being really careful not to over sand this ring, just so that we can be careful not to expose the uncut diamonds This could cause them to fall out later or to have weird scratches on your ring. So we're just being really careful to just sand the right amount. We're just trying to sand it so that it's smooth and has a nice, clean, polishable surface. Okay, now that I'm done with the sanding process, you'll notice that the ring blank is smooth now on certain parts of it. So the Damascus steel, part of the reason it's so cool is because it has that twisted, braided look, and as we sanded, we caused that to kind of go away. So first up, I'm gonna go ahead and polish the ring, just because it's hard to polish a twisted Damascus ring after you re-etch it so that it has those ridges again. So we're just gonna etch the ring, but we're gonna make sure the inside channel is polished first. With the polish, I'm just gonna use a step 2 Astrotech polish. This is just gonna leave the inner channel with a really nice, clean finish. You're gonna be able to see through the layers of super thin really well, and you're gonna be able to see those diamonds and that nebula themed background. For the etching process, we use a mixture of muriatic acid and 35% strength hydrogen peroxide. So as I'm doing this, I always make sure to wear gloves because I really don't want to get any of those acids or hydrogen peroxide on my fingers. So when I put the muriatic acid in this vial with the ring, I try and just cover up the ring, and then as I add the hydrogen peroxide, we're just adding enough droplets of the hydrogen peroxide to start the chemical reaction. So as I'm adding it, I'm really looking closely to see when the liquid begins to turn that yellowish color and when it begins to give off bubbles. So we're gonna go ahead and just leave it in this mixture for 5 to 6 minutes is roughly what I go for. With the etching process, I just dip it in some water to clean off the excess acid, and then I dry it off. Perfect. So now that we've pulled it out of the acid and dried it off, I think this ring looks phenomenal. I am really happy with how this turned out. It's honestly one of the best nebula twist rings that I've ever made. And I've made hundreds of these bad boys, honestly. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I think the mixture of the purple and the blue looked really good in this ring. And then the etch just turned out really nicely as well. So I hope you enjoy this ring as much as I do. It's one of my favorites that we make at Patrick Adair Designs, and I'm so excited for you guys to get the chance to make one for yourselves. So thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then go check out our Facebook group so that you can learn tips and tricks about ring making as well as share your own custom designs. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.